right, y'all, we back. Peace, love, light is be right. And my man Vince White, we're doing it all over again. This is Solutions, brought to you by Focus Media Entertainment. We are very excited that you decided to come back and join us one more time. Hopefully you were interested in that last show that we did with the universal laws. If so, today we are bringing you another topic. If you have been feeling differently lately, maybe just not understanding what's happening in your life, there's some chaos and you want some peace, you could be going through a spiritual awakening. So today's topic is the various signs of spiritual awakening. Now I'm only going to do about 10, but there's many other signs that you could potentially be going through. And hopefully this will help answer some of the questions on why you've been feeling certain ways lately, or why people in your life have just been dropping off. Or, before I go on too much of a tangent, let's just get started.
All right. I'm glad to be here again because it's time for a spiritual awakening. So I'm all for that because, I've been seeing some things out here, and I always like to make sure I'm woke because I know sometimes I'm asleep. So this is going to be good for me, so I'm excited. Right on,
man. I mean, you got to sleep. Without sleep, there is no being awake. So, this is just something that I've noticed many people are going through right now, just based on the conversations that I've had and based on my own spiritual awakening. I never knew what was going on. Most of the people that I love and love me, they thought I was going crazy. You know what I mean? Things just started to fall apart, so to say, and now they're building back up. So one of the first signs that I experienced was the want to learn new things. I just was drawn to brand new experiences and topics and things that before I was never interested in. Before it was that I had to go to work every day, that same belief, you know what I mean? I had to make sure the house was okay, and those, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but what happened is my interest started to shift. I was no longer programmed into the same television shows I was watching. Crystals came into my life. The search for my purpose came into my life. I remember listening to binaural beats when I was going to sleep and then researching topics on consciousness and spirituality, even tarot. This is what they like to call going down the rabbit hole, right? And this is just where there's just so much information out here. But when you are set in one indoctrination, right? Then it creates a box or a bubble that you're afraid to go outside of, and fear is false evidence appearing real. One of the rules that I conduct myself by is never be afraid of anything. Not anymore. There's nothing to be afraid of, right? So the very first sign for me was just, the want to learn new things. Now, sign number 2 for me is synchronicity. Now, this is another big one. This is when you really start to realize that there's something else going on, meaning like, you'll start seeing numbers that repeat. 1111, 444, 222, 333. It was 333 was big for me. I remember waking up every night at like 333 in the midst of going through so many different things. And then it made me want to Google why I was doing these things. Like, what is 333, or why do I keep waking up at 333? And so it's funny because based on my upbringing, right? There's a certain time of night where they say ain't nothing going on out there but bad, right? They call it the witching hour, so to say, right? But by doing that, it kind of puts you in a position to think that whatever you're going through at that time is probably something that's bad. But if you are in a lower vibrational place, you just left the bar. Don't get me wrong, I go to the bar sometimes. But if it becomes a consistency, then at those hours, you're probably maneuvering on a lower vibration. Right. And so, but this is about synchronicity. Synchronicity is also one of those times where you might just start thinking about a person that you haven't thought about for a while. Right. And then in the next 10 minutes or something like that, you get a random phone call from them. Or when you think of a person and you just reach out and they're like, man, I was just thinking about you. Right. Those are the various signs of synchronicity. Sometimes you can even find synchronicity in music. where you're just listening to a song or a new song comes on and there's a line in that song that resonates with what you're going through, right? It's kind of like somebody is trying to tell you something, right? That's why you're waking up at the same time every night. Something is trying to get your attention that is beyond what you know. Now, the next one, this one is a doozy. This one is a doozy. They call it the dark night of the soul. Now, the dark night of the soul. This is so when you're awakening to your spiritual journey, a lot of people believe that spiritual journey, it sounds amazing, and it is amazing, right? But the thing is that you just believe that because it's your spirit, all things are going to be good, right? And this is the part where I'm going to tell you, it's not. Later, you'll realize the beauty of what you're going through. But while you're going through it, in the midst of your struggle, in the midst of your hard time, it's dark. It's depressing, right? This is where you start to just question everything, right? This is where, nothing makes sense. Your belief system starts to fall apart, right? You lose friends. I mean, this is your darkest time. This is that dark hour in your life where you actually need to face these things in order to start to be able to find the beauty. This is when everything that you thought you knew now is questioned. It's probably one of the hardest things. This is where they also get the term shadow work. You know what I mean? Where you got to work on the shadow side of yourself. But it's the chaos before the peace. This is the step that removes what isn't in alignment with yourself or with your unknown truth yet. So it's worth it, but it does take time. And this is where you'll start to, like I said, lose things. Family, you lose friends, maybe even your partner, right? Because something within you is just not aligning right. So that's the dark night of the soul. Another one, I think is number 4, is you'll have like a ringing in your ears. And this is not for everybody. And if you have a medical condition or something like that, then I'm not saying that. If there's ever anything wrong with you, still go and get it checked out. You know what I'm saying? And then if they say you're perfectly fine, then maybe some of these things might answer some questions for you. But you'll get a ringing in the ears or a buzzing, or you'll just hear different tones that the others aren't hearing. And what that is, you could be clairaudient. We're not going to go too far into that, or this is a sign that you are connecting to a higher vibration, right? You're raising your own frequency. And so that's where the ear ringing, buzzing, and various tones may come into play. And that was just something I experienced as well. And, I would tell people, I'm hearing stuff. It just played further into those who weren't awakening, believing that I was just going crazy. The next one is number 5. You start seeing through society's illusions. This one is a trip, because now that you've delved into new topics, you're feeling the bigger calling of synchronicity. You know what I mean? There's a ringing in your ears. You've been depressed and you're tired of life being what you believed it was. This can't be it. Like, we really all are just meant to struggle, and some of us only achieve our dreams. Like, no, this can't. I mean, if love is the most powerful energy of all, then most of us aren't loving the life that we're living. You know what I mean? And so you start to see through the illusions. You start looking for the truth that you understand by your own belief. It's kind of like the dark night of the soul, because you're seeing through your own lies and the lies of others and the lies of the life that we're living. You know what I mean? It's the realizing. The real lies are coming out. You know what I mean? You break that word down, realize, the real and lies. You know what I mean? So the real lies are coming out. You're really going to see something different, which is an amazing feeling. I mean, a movie that I truly enjoy is The Matrix, right? And it's like that, where you're starting to see through it. You're starting to see all the agents that were in your life. You know what I mean? Like, you're starting to notice that even people that day ones or whatever, that you've always just had, they're your friends. So it's the benefit of the doubt. It's that loyalty, when in reality, no, that's BS. Like, hold on, why am I the only one that's doing all of this only to get this minimum? No, okay, yep, no more. That's your Agent Smith, right? That's when you're seeing through it, and sooner or later you'll start to see through it enough to feel protected, right? And that's where like Neo becomes, the one that breaks the code. And when you break down the word Neo, right? I mean, it's 3 letters and it comes to one. It's Neo, but One is one. Neo is the one. He was the chosen one. You're the chosen one for your own life's experience, right? You just got to see through the matrix. So the next one is dreams. Number 6, dreams. Like vivid or lucid dreaming. I don't know if anybody has heard that term. If you haven't, look it up. There's even binaural beats with some headphones when you go to sleep. And I'm big in support in regards to what you allow yourself to listen to when you're falling asleep, because your brain never stops going. So your subconscious mind is always working. So if you're listening to something in the background, then subconsciously that might, project certain belief systems into your own thought process. So, but with vivid dreams, there's some meditations on YouTube, and like I said, just nighttime soft music and things like that that'll help you relax, because the state of relaxation is very important. Relax you enough to have dreams, so, and when you remember a dream like pretty good throughout the day, that's not just a dream, that's a message, right? You got to look into that dream. One thing I do recommend is every night when you go to bed, get a little cup of water, right? And if you're worried about it being dirty, whatever, cover it, get a bottle of water or something like that, sit it next to your bed, room temperature, and keep a dream journal next to that book, next to that water. And the reason why is when you wake up, even though dreams don't always make sense, right? Just write it down. Write it down. That way you can maybe find the message, or later on when you're furthering your journey and you look back, right, it'll make more sense, which then will help you interpret new dreams that you may be having, right? So remember, state of relaxation, water, and keep a dream journal, okay? Now, number 7 for me was oneness. And this was like just feeling a part of everything. When I was going through my spiritual awakening and everything in my life was falling apart, I went to the woods. I went to the mountains, and I basically was on my way home just to get a hug and a pancake from my grandmother, because that was the only thing that I thought would soothe my soul, right? When everybody else doubted me, I knew that she wouldn't, right? And that's the only person I want to see. And my son was off at college. Even when I was going through, my son was so worried that he was like, you know what, Dad, I'm hearing that you're going crazy. I need to see you. I'm coming home. And in the middle of his college year, he just flew all the way to California. He's like, I need to see you, Dad. And so we sat down and we talked. He had some questions, and we were both able to ease it. But his concern and that true love coming for me, it made me feel, of course, he and I are a part of each other. Of course, I'm a part of my grandmother. But during this time, I just needed to get out of my everyday life. And so I started becoming very attracted to nature. I mean, if you look at it now, I mean, the lake, I have to be near the water. Every day I got to see the water now. I started to see more animals, and that was something that catapulted me into learning about, spirit animals and totems. And I don't want to get too far off, but you'll feel this bigger connection to the universe and everything in it. That'll be the oneness or the connected feeling that you're feeling while going through a spiritual awakening. Number 8, prioritizing yourself. This is huge, because in life, for a lot of us, you may recognize it or you may not, but you're just out here people pleasing. You want to impress your friends. You want to dress like the people that have a lot of money, when in reality, the people that have a lot of money, they dress pretty relaxed. I mean, they don't have name brands on, and many of us have heard that, but yet we still spend all of that money to look like the people that don't have all of that money. They just got a little more money than what we have. And when you recognize what they're willing to do in order to have that little more money, then you got to question your own morality. Would you really be willing to sell out yourself, your soul, your people, just to wear something with somebody else's name on it? I'm good. I don't know about y'all, but I'm good on that. So you learn to start prioritizing yourself, putting yourself first. The most important thing that you put first is your healing. Healing yourself through that dark night. once you take responsibility for what you are, what you've been representing, right? Then you got to forgive yourself for it. See, your inner self, your higher being, your that kid in you, because that's when you come out purest as a child, right? That child is somewhere deep inside of you, cowering in a corner because of all of the things that you put before him. And once you get through that dark night and find yourself and hug you and you forgive you, right? Then you prioritize that healing. You grow within the growth of your inner self. And so by doing that, you can start doing yoga. Some people change their diet. You'll just notice that there is a change happening within you. You know what I mean? A change is going to come, and that change is here now. You can change by recognizing certain things that are going on in your life and putting yourself first in it. Like they say, you can't fill a cup with an empty cup. You can't pour out of an empty cup. I think how the saying goes. You can't pour out of an empty cup, which is true, which means that you have to fill yourself first. Take care of yourself first. Do it with love and gratitude. And so then number 9 would be attracting things. And Vince and I were just talking about this a minute ago. And so you'll start noticing, like, when you were losing friends and you were willing to walk away from all that you knew. And now, and you could have accumulated a lot of different things, right? Attachments. One thing I've learned that is that in life, you never lose anything, right? So that friend that might have left because they were no longer serving their purpose for the higher benefit of you both and yourself, right, will be replaced with somebody that does, right? You start attracting. Money no longer becomes the focus. The energy in which you're giving your energy in becomes the focus. And usually you can be rewarded by a law of compensation or something like that. And it might be monetarily. Or you'll notice that in doing so, you made a lot of connections. And those connections will result in some type of compensation, right? So always be willing to give. I was at the hardware store, and that was something that the guy told me, and it was something I made sure that I wanted to say on the podcast. And he was like, man, I'm a firm believer in, you get what you give. And I told him, I say that all the time. And he was like, really? I said, yeah. And then I add, and in the spirit that you gave it in. So if I give you an attitude, right, but I gave you $5, and the next time somebody pays me something, it's probably going to be with an attitude. You know what I mean? So make sure that you always keep your spirit pure. You should already be feeling grateful, but if you don't, that's okay. Because that brings us into step 10. And step 10 is gratefulness to the extreme. This is where, and this feels amazing. This feels good. This is where in the middle of your day, you just have a moment of just being happy for being. I catch myself like that a lot. And lately, when I wake up, it's usually right as I'm about to put on my socks, right? Because God, or higher being, whatever you want to call it, is God to me, right? God has got somewhere for me to go. You know what I mean? So I just wake up and after I shower and do my push-ups or whatever I do that morning in my routine, my bed's made and things like that, I just look around the room and as I'm putting on my socks, I just start giggling. Yeah, giggling, not laughing hard and nothing like that. Just a nice, wholesome giggle that is filled with so much gratitude and that emotion. It's almost a tear in the corner of my eye because I'm just that appreciative just to be waking up, just to see what today holds for me. Right? Today being a beautiful day. Yesterday was Ash Wednesday. I didn't even realize that. Vince told me it was my friend's birthday. Happy birthday, friend. And so gratefulness is just something that it's unrivaled. It's unrivaled. To be grateful, to have enough to give to somebody else creates a feeling of gratefulness in them. Right? You set an example, you set the bar high. So you'll start feeling that, you'll just be excited to live. And this is happiness. I mean, this is what you envision when you think of a spiritual journey, right? You'll also find your purpose this way, right? You'll find your soul tribe. You may even find love. You know what I'm saying? Most likely, depending on what it is that you are desiring from your heart, not from your skewed perspective of what you think you want, right? Because we think we want so many things when we don't even know ourselves. When in reality, once you get to knowing yourself and awakening to your true self and spirit, then you believe in the fact that these things are meant for you. So, if you've been feeling different lately, hopefully this is something that'll give you a clue on what could possibly be going on. And, all we want is peace, love, light. You got anything to add, Vince?
No.
He choked up. All right.
You put it down. That was good. That was real good. Where can I get those that information?
So if you're looking for spiritual awakening, well, one, these are just a few of the signs that I've endured myself or gone through myself. But like anything, I love YouTube, right? YouTube is a place where you found this video, and YouTube would be a place where you can find more videos like that. You know what I mean? There are other people's opinions. I'm not saying I'm right. It's just my last name. So what I am saying, though, is that, hopefully these things that are brought to your attention, catapult you into wanting. These could be that number one, seeking new interest, right? There's nothing more interesting than the power of yourself. Just learn more about you. These are the things that helped me learn me, that got me to this point, to where now I've been confident enough to, put myself out on this platform. I've accepted all of my shit. Excuse my language, but that's what it was. I've accepted all of my shit, and I've owned up to it. You know what I mean? And I don't owe anybody an explanation for my shit, just like you don't. It's yours. You did it. You've been through it. You even got the dirty ass t-shirt. You know what I'm saying? So just own up to it. And once you stop doing the things that you once did that gave you that label, you no longer fall under that label. Now, if you go back and revisit it, then again, you can be that. But once you choose to just be whoever you are, and I am I, me is me, mama name me, Brian, right? So once you realize that, there is no more regret and shame. You grow beyond it. You no longer have to be depressed for what you've gone through and endured, because you made it through it. So instead of being depressed, be grateful for it. Be grateful for the experience, the lesson, the understanding, so that now if you ever see those signs again, you can protect yourself from it. And you will be tested. There's always a test before reward. You know what I mean? You got to climb the mountain in order to see that view. So there is going to be a challenge in order to get the things that you want. Usually you are the challenge. So stop challenging yourself. Go with it.
Awesome. Once again, be right in the house. It's all good. So thanks for joining us today. Another Focus Media TV
and podcast edition. And the show is Solutions with Be Right and Vince White. Thanks for joining us, y'all. Peace, love, light.
So you guys have a great day.